Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Storefront Theater's Talkback. I am Judy Simpson Cook, as most of you know, but anyone who has not experienced the Storefront Theater, Talkback is named after what we do after every show, which is talk back to actors, playwright, me, audience. We just have a good time. But now, while we're in the midst of the pandemic, I thought it would be nice if we got a chance to chat with some of the people that you've enjoyed seeing or would enjoy seeing on the stage at the Storefront Theater. Today, I am really excited to have my special guest, Dennis Delamar. Hello, Dennis.
Hi, Judy. Good to see you. What a pleasure to be with you today.
It's good to see you too, and have a peek into your home there behind you with masks and paintings.
That's a painting of my grandmother I did, Pearl. I use an old photo from the early 1900s. It's my favorite, my dad's favorite too, when he was alive. Anyway, okay, back covering her up.
Well, that's lovely. I wish I had a painting of my grandmother, but I do not. Well, I guess the most obvious topic is the coronavirus and the pandemic and the isolation. What have you been doing to save your sanity during this time?
Well, let's see. I put out a call to my family saying, gosh, I wish I'd have gotten this, this, and this if I'd have only known. And one of those three things was a bicycle. And my sister and her husband heard that, and they got me a bicycle. They found one they bought online from someone, picked it up down in Newbern, Eastern North Carolina, fixed it up, got me a new seat, wider seat for my old butt, and they brought it to Charlotte. And so I love riding my bike. I watch a lot of television. I try to walk every day, and I look at Facebook right much, probably too much, but and my big project I was dealing with when all of it struck, you may know this, I was directing a production at Theater Charlotte of Cat on a Hot Tin Roof by Tennessee Williams, one of my favorite plays. And that got shuttered 5 days before we were to open. So I did a lot of stuff with Theater Charlotte, actually with Zoom and sharing things. So that kept me kind of busy for a couple of months there. But anyway, I'm trying to keep my cool and maintain and meditate some. I seem to be sleeping a little more than I used to. And I try to encourage other people the best I can. How about you?
Well, the thought of a bicycle occurred to me, but I hate bicycles. And so
I've had to rediscover.
Well, they're not comfortable for me. I hesitate to say on national YouTube that I don't have a fat behind, but I don't.
You need to see the seat they bought me. My brother-in-law's family owns a bike shop in Newbern, Flythe Bike Shop, and my sister has one he got for her, and she said he needs a seat like I do. I call it an old person seat, but it's a nice, wide, comfortable, cushiony seat, and that's what they put on it before they brought it to me. So I'm thankful for my seat. So maybe that would do the trick for you.
That very well might. Listen, everybody, you want to ride a bicycle? Keep in mind that seat for elderly.
Anybody, I think anybody, not just elderly, but I just know I need to be comfortable back down there.
Yes, I would too. Well, now speaking of your grandmother and your family that got your bicycle at the shop in Newbern, if my memory is correct, you were born and raised in a town called Oriental, which sounds like it would just be a glorious place to live. Tell us about Oriental.
It really was. It's Oriental, right on the coast at the mouth of the Neuse River, where it empties into the large Pamlico Sound, which looks like Lake Michigan out there. But I used to call it Mayberry by the Sea, is where I grew up. It's small town. A lot of people love Oriental as their final home now. And I've been gone for many years, but I still have close ties and have family back there, Delamar family and Woodard family members. And I go home when I can. In fact, that's one of the things I've really been missing since the coronavirus. I've kind of stayed to myself here in my bubble of a few close friends, but I need to take a trip soon and visit them out there on the coast. I miss Oriental, but yes, a lovely town. Sailboats, shrimp trawlers. My brother and I, when we were little boys, had our own skiff between us with a 5.5 horse Evinrude motor, and we could work those creeks on our own. When I was 10 years old in the summer, I would go crabbing every day or fishing, and lots of fun. Yeah.
That sounds like an idyllic life.
It was nice. My sister says she sees it all a lot differently because she was younger and she didn't get to do all the fun things the boys got to do. But, if you
want to talk feminism, I can participate, okay?
Yeah.
Was it during your growing up years that you got the theater bug, or when did that start?
No, that started, I came upon theater a little later because my first creative venture was visual art and art. I drew and tried to paint, and when I went to college at ECU, I actually got, maybe you could call it a minor in art or a concentration, because I was an education major and I wanted to be a school teacher. I knew that, but I wanted some art classes. So I did have some art classes there, a few, which kind of survey classes that got me started with painting, drawing, a little sculpture and appreciation stuff. But that was my big thing after I graduated from college and started teaching. When I had my creative needs to be satisfied, I'd have canvas and draw, and I did art shows back then. A very solo, you might say lonely form of creativity, because you're on your own by yourself, and it's fulfilling as it can be. But when I tasted theater in my mid to late 20s, just came upon some productions down there in eastern North Carolina in Pamlico County, and I sing also, and I felt that thing we feel in front of an audience and taking a character and becoming them, and yeah, it hit me hard, so much that I just started focusing on that more than my visual art, and kind of it got eclipsed for theater. And I took off, and it was like one play after another, one experience after another I could get as an actor. I also started directing a little, and I'm a retired school teacher, so my school teacher skills fell right in place for my directing. I feel as some of the same principles of a good school teacher is a good director. So
well,
anyway,
brings up
that's how it got started.
That's a question that I wanted to ask you. In your years of teaching and theater, what did theater allow you to bring to teaching, and what did teaching allow you to bring to theater?
That's a good question. I'll have a sip of water on that. Well, just naturally, as a teacher, I taught 5th grade primarily, elementary, all the subjects, and I loved that as well. And the actor in me hold the attention of a crowd. You know the expression, he had them eating out of the palm of his hand. Well, a teacher can really energize children or any students and get them excited, hopefully, about what they're trying to get across or what they're doing, and it's contagious. And the actor person in me, or the animation thing, that always fed my teaching beautifully. But I pulled in all of my own personal loves of the arts and music and theater right into my classroom. And my kids who were my students, in those 30 years I taught, they knew they had a song folder. They started it in the beginning of the year. I would give them the sheets of songs I wanted to introduce, very much like literature and poetry. And then they would hear it. I'd tell them about the play it was from or some history on it. And we would put it on the record player. That's all. And we would sing. And by the end of the year, they had a whole repertoire of songs and had been introduced to many of shows that were really classic stories, Les Miserables, Oklahoma, Once on This Island. There were 1776, which I was in, and I used that as a tool when I taught fifth grade United States history and the Declaration of Independence. I just wish I'd have still been teaching when Hamilton came out, because I know I would have had that in my classroom.
Absolutely. Do you have a favorite musical?
Oh my.
Or is that impossible to say?
It's impossible to say because musicals I love to see. That I've been very fortunate to get to be in a lot of shows in my 41, 42 year theater career. And you have signature roles, that you just felt good about. And I had the chance to do more than once. I got to do John Adams in 1776 twice. I got to do Henry Higgins in My Fair Lady 3 times through the years. I call them signature roles, but there are so many. Every show is different. The people you're with are different. The whole experience. I would say there are 2 favorite roles, but there are so many. And I'm just very thankful that I've had that chance. Yeah. How about you? Wait a minute. Do you have a favorite role? A favorite show, a favorite role?
Yes. I have played Blanche in A Streetcar Named Desire, and it suited my slightly wacky mental anguish self. And I also loved Truvy and Steel Magnolias, and you came to Fayetteville to see me do it, I remember.
I did, with my friend Lincoln. Oh, yes, you were wonderful.
That was delightful. That was so much fun to do. And the thing I love about what I'm doing now with the Storefront Theater is that I do all the casting, so no one can turn me down. I can play whatever I want to. And now I've aged out of a lot of the roles I've created as a playwright, but I have had a chance to at least play them, which gives me a much better sense of how well they work and how well an actor might do with them. So in response to something you said a few minutes ago, being a playwright has that solitude that you mentioned when you're painting or drawing. It has that lonely time, if you're want to call it that, but it also has the communal time, because assuming a theater produces it, you've got that ensemble, the director and the actors, all that together to put it on. So it's the best of both worlds.
Yeah, that's a payoff.
Yes.
Yeah, with a painting, you get to exhibit it, you might get some comments, but you're right, that is a follow-up from writing, even more than a book, a play, because there'll be a cast of people and the whole experience. That's something I hope to do one day, is to write, playwright. You also, your question about teaching, I think as a teacher, it made me a better actor, because as you and I both know, observing human behavior that you absorb and it helps you create your own connections with those things when you are called upon to create a character or get in touch with that. So all through the years, my students, I learned from them, and I think they learned from me, and we did it together. But one of my missions was to bring art to them, along with their fractions and their writing skills and vocabulary and social studies and all of that. But the arts, I used it as much as I could to enhance and just let them have fun with what they were learning. And I have to admit, it did pay off, and I felt good about what I did as a teacher for 30 years. When I direct, I still feel that teacher piece of me. I'm a big encourager, and I like to get the most out of people to find their best. And that's with your students at school, but it's also with your actors that you're working with, trying to help them find their best performance and to serve the writer that wrote the wonderful play.
Yes. Well, in regard to your teaching, I'll say this very quickly. Dennis was Teacher of the Year at least once. Was that Charlotte Mecklenburg?
I was Charlotte Mecklenburg Teacher of the Year in '88, and then in '95 I was First Union Outstanding Educator. So and that's all, twice. But I do have people say, "Oh, he's won Teacher of the Year 5 or 6 times." It was 2. But
right,
that
got it straight here. He hasn't won it 5 or 6 times, but he deserves it every time he did. Well, also on the subject of your art and writing, Dennis has a gift, and every Christmas he creates his very own Christmas card. He draws it, and he writes a wonderful story to go along with it. And I am one of the fortunate ones who is on his Christmas card list. So I look forward to that every Christmas season. But I want to know, clearly you have a talent for writing that I see every December. But do you spend much time writing other kinds of things?
The Christmas card has served me as a person that was blessed, I think, with some talents and some gifts. And I've been taught that responsibility you have. What is the expression in the Bible? Not to hide that light under the bushel basket. But when I was an artist, a visual artist, and paintings and drawings were my thing. They were my everything besides my work, regular work. And I segued from that into theater. I kind of slowed down on my art and found theater art. So my Christmas card became a commitment to myself that once a year at least, you're going to do an artwork and you're going to share it. And also the writing that I put and the stories that I shared got more and more important through the years. And when you hear, just for anybody listening, when I say through the years, this past Christmas, 2019, was the 46th year I've done an original Christmas card. It started out in 1974 when I was fresh out of college. I was 22, and I sent 100. I had them printed, and each one was signed and personalized to the people I sent them to. And as the years have gone by and I meet people that strike me as, I want to not lose those folks. I want to connect each year. This was long before Facebook, which I would have resented Facebook for a while because I said, I've been doing that socializing for 20 years. Anyway, I finally caved. And as some of my friends say, you're the biggest Facebook whore that went. Sorry about that. But anyway, it has grown to now it rounds off. I send about 1,200 a year. It's an investment of my money. I want the stamp. That's part of it. The envelope is part of it. All of that tender, loving care, along with my artistic and written expression. So that's my production every year, along with my theater productions that honors my artistic talent and hopefully my writing. And yes, as I write and I get into those stories, and many of them go back to my past and my family, I realize there's a book waiting, there's a play waiting, one or two, and I need to get on the ball, Judy. But that's why when I'm with you and I'm at Storefront, especially with your new plays, you inspire me. You always have, because we both have a love and appreciation for the South, our roots, and the language of the language we grew up with. And you have a gift with the language. And it's one of the reasons I love reading any of your shows. I thought, I know these people. I grew up with them in Eastern North Carolina. A lot of them are rural, and we know them, and we love them. Some of them are trifling. Some of them are hilarious. Many of them are wise. And but yeah, someday I have to get in front of the keyboard and put some of those things down. Maybe if I rub elbows with you long enough, I'll jump on it.
Well, I need to be jumping on it myself. I've had a long dry spell. So maybe we can encourage each other to get on the ball.
Yes. And I thank you. I'm glad you enjoy the Christmas cards. My biggest obstacle to my Christmas cards production is myself. And because it's like I can't be happy if I'm not happy with the card. And happy as an artist and a writer. It has to say something. It has to have a kick to it, a meaning. And I will labor over that. It's the creative process, which I so admire and respect. But it's pressure every year. Suppose somebody told you had to have a play every December. You had to have it. But it's a creation. But so after I get it, I'm thrilled with it. I love it. I'll look at it and I'll think I'm happy with it. Then the next year is like, what do I do to top last year? So often though, inspiration comes around Thanksgiving. I'll take a long trip home. I'll take that 6-hour drive to the coast, either on the way or coming back. It'll start forming. And so
I think I might be able to do that, have a play by Christmas, because I do much better with a deadline. If I'm just floating with no time to be finished,
yes,
or whatever, I can be idle better than just about anybody you know.
yeah. Hey, something funny about the Christmas card, about deadlines, pressure that I put on myself. I love this. I go to the post office and I buy 1,200 stamps before the card is even created, even when I don't know the idea yet. It's that pressure I need. Okay, buddy, you've spent that money. You now got to produce because you bought all those stamps. So, yeah.
I think I have an idea for a play. I think I'll write a play about a Southern gentleman who sends out a Christmas card every year and spends his life fortune on stamps.
Well, I'll tell you, it would. I do have a few people. I almost think it's like a pity thing, or it's a thank you. They will put in their card a sheet of stamps. Sometime they'll send it to me, and I do appreciate it because it goes in the pile for next year. So,
well, I wish I had thought of that. You may get some you didn't expect this year.
No, I'm not canvassing for
I didn't think you were fishing. I truly didn't. Well, we don't have a lot of time left. A couple of more things that I'd like to throw in here. And one is, this is as hard as saying your favorite song, but is there a role that you've always wanted to do that's kind of a dream role you haven't been able to do yet?
There's a fine line now to the roles I would love to do and the roles I can do because of my age and with memory. I'm real proud. I love aging into roles that I'm right for. I just turned 68 and I'm proud of that. And so getting to do older, like playing Grandpa in You Can't Take It With You at Theater Charlotte, Mitzi Corrigan's production 2 or 3 years ago, 4 years ago, I loved it. But there are incredible roles now that I'm age appropriate for. So the fine line is, can I memorize all those lines? I can do a reading in a heartbeat, but putting it, so it's got to be a role that really means a lot to me and that I want to pour my heart into because I believe in what the message is of the show, and I want to try to become that character. So, and that, as far as one of those roles, there's great roles out there now for my age, if I could memorize them. And I don't want to say I can't, but yeah, maybe. Like, for instance, one of the 2 guys in Inherit the Wind, those roles now I'm a right age for. I saw Christopher Plummer do it on Broadway. My friend Scott Sowers was in it as the bailiff, and Christopher Plummer and Brian Dennehy were the 2 leads, and I got to see them and got to meet Plummer. But some of the old guy roles now, if I could memorize them, I would love to take them on. So, yeah.
Well, maybe if we knew a playwright who liked to write old guy roles, we could find something for you.
Yeah.
Well, and that brings us to brag time, and you'll be doing the bragging, and I will be glowing in the glow. Talk about Storefront a little bit and what you like about your experiences there, if anything.
Well, my first rule about Storefront Theater, and Judy Simpson Cook, who is a dear friend and was one of my agents at JTA Film Agency when you did that years ago. But we go way back. You're one of the first people I met here when I moved to Charlotte in 1983. You were working with early Charlotte Rep. What was the company? With Steve Umberger and
that was Ace.
Ace, yes. But I met you then at the Mint Museum. I met you, but I have loved you and your work. So I have a rule. If Judy calls upon me on a project, if I can book it and do it, it's a yes. Because I feel like you also have a grasp of who is good for what roles. So I trust that right off. So, but you have given me the privilege of several fun roles. The whole experience is delightful. And as the actors, when you're in a play, you have weeks of rehearsal and the memorization. It takes a lot of time, and then the run itself. And you commit to it, and it's satisfying. But Storefront and Reader's Theater is a different satisfaction. It's a lot bigger payoff for the amount of time you have to invest. And you cast experienced people, or we could say pros, and we basically get the script. You've connected us with a role, and you feel like our voice will work for it. I mean, the word voice is who we are as actors. And then we have one good reading and talk through it, and then we just do it. And it's one weekend, and for Saturday and Sunday. It used to be Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Now you've tuned it down to just Saturday and Sunday. You work it that after Saturday afternoon, you read it Saturday night, and again Sunday afternoon. And that's just delightful. But the audiences are always appreciative. They're smiling when they're listening. And you always pick fun people, many of them dear friends, and it's great to see them again. And some people that can't do a lot of theater now and memorize get to do this because a reading we can still do. So I love the atmosphere. I love the whole, and it's, you and Ron do a good job with it. Ron's got it all organized, got it down to a science, even a backdrop in the church, transforms the space, and it's delightful. And it has a door prize too. Well,
I had to come up with a film scheme to get audience in there, We really are nearly out of time, so I'm just going to say one thing to you as a something you'll appreciate hearing, I think, and that is when I have a new play, frequently the first actors who give life to the roles are the actors whose voices I hear in my head whenever I
Yeah.
read the play going forward. And my play, Godspeed John Glenn, you played the newspaper publisher Lou, and I'm not sure anyone other than you will ever see Lou in my head.
Oh,
So,
that's a compliment.
thank you. You were quite wonderful. Uh, Dennis is quite wonderful. So whenever he's back on the stage again, and you can go to the theater again without sitting miles apart, please do go and experience his wonderful acting and directing skills. Uh, and of course, when we're back doing storefront, even if we might do it this way. I've done some things this way, and we may do an actual play in this style. But I can't seem to get the words out of my mouth. How very, very talented I am as an actor. Dennis, let's just put it down. The bottom line, Dennis, I love you. You're marvelous, and I appreciate so very much your coming on Talkback with me today. It was really
Well, I thank you. It was an honor and it was fun. And in these times, just getting to connect with people you love, it makes the rest of the day. So thank you to you and Ron. And I'm a big storefront advocate. And we're going to get through this. The day will come, there will be vaccines. We will all have them, like a polio vaccine or something, and we'll all be together again like we were. But we are humans, we're resilient, and we adapt, and we help each other. And that's where we are right now. And it would be a good time to be writing, wouldn't it? While we've got some more.
I guess it would, perhaps, yes.
But anyway, I thank you. I enjoyed it, and good luck with Storefront Theater. One of my favorite playwrights. I got to talk with her today.
Thank you very much. And the last thing I'll say is theater people got a hug. So we got to get this virus business straightened out because we got a hug. I would be hugging you now, Dennis, if it were possible.
Imagine it. Imagine it. Bye-bye.
Goodbye, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in.